on iHeartRadio, The Man in the Arena, the LifeVac radio show, where we explore incredible stories of courage, resilience, and life-saving moments. Here's your hosts, founder, inventor, and CEO of LifeVac, Arthur Lee, and LifeVac advocate and president of sales, Rick Fatscher.
Hey, good evening, LifeVac Nation. Boy, did that cut out quick. Welcome to The Man in the Arena, brought to you by LifeVac, the airway clearance device that has now saved over 3,500 lives in 39 countries. Go to lifevac.net, for God's sakes. Get the original, authentic LifeVac. Use code MITA. What does that stand for, Pat?
Man in the Arena.
Man in the Arena, for discount on protecting those you love. You know what? Teddy Roosevelt, Arthur grabbed this quote, and I love the quote. People love it. Teddy Roosevelt said, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, bringing a life-saving device." Well, Teddy did say that, but I just added that.
I think in the show, I think at one point in your guys' show, he does. It was a little bit of an acronym. Didn't you have it at Booker T's dinner?
Oh, yeah. What's that?
We'll try to sneak it in somehow.
Yeah, last time it snuck in there.
So my name is Rick Fatscher. I'm here with Arthur Lee, CEO, inventor of this incredible device that we all represent and love, and Patrick O'Rourke, Massapequa comedy legend.
Legend. I like that.
A whole town. A legend of a town.
An entire town. Well,
and
listen,
he has his patch sewed on his head today.
He's got a LifeVac patch for those of you listening at home. A new LifeVac patch sewed onto the hat that he wears. But you know what? When we talk about comedy legends of Massapequa, you're in good company.
Yes. Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Baldwin.
Yeah,
W.C. Fields. Joey Buttafuoco.
We had a lot of comedy.
Just
Rex, the Gilgo Killer.
Oh, God.
Let's not talk about
All
Rex.
right.
But those are folks that are listening across the country, where if you're in LA and it's the weekend, God bless you. I hope everything is safe from the fires.
Yeah.
We're not as timely as we could be. So those of you listening in Houston, in Orlando, and of course here in New York, WOR 710, unbelievable audience for Man in the Arena. And what we do here, Arthur, you wrote a book.
Well, it's that's been kind of a little bit of a foundation because it gives us a talk,
A platform.
and I think that it really inspires some thinking. Like when you said today was what the F, I said, whoa, okay. And the brain started working on it. But I wanted to take a second too, to think about the last 2 days, right?
Incredible.
Like what a, we were with Colonel CJ Douglas. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Cause he's just CJ to me, but
Right. We call him CJ.
But Pat, you got, you get to know him too, but we spent a lot of time riding in the car. And when you get time with someone, a veteran that has been over there and protecting our country for a long time, man, we got some amazing stories. But think about that. Then we go to Newsmax and we're on there, and he shined in his efforts to help protect veterans in a choking emergency. And then today we go and we're on Channel 10 and we see Brian and we meet John Tapper.
Jake Tapper, yeah.
But the cool thing was that when you would have liked this, Pat, he points at me and goes, "I know you from TV." Now I wouldn't do that to him because he's
right
on TV.
He's a little frightening too.
Sorry,
Jake Tapper.
Yeah, he could yell
It's
at.
a good
Jake.
sign.
Is it Jake or John? I don't want to get the wrong.
Sign.
There's a wrong and right Tapper. So we're gonna get to the bottom.
Tapper.
Of this. There's a Tapper. Damn
Come
near
on,
killed
Pat.
him.
That was so set up for you.
Well, that was also, who's the one he doesn't have a FBI clearance anymore? That was
the reporter Tapper.
Yeah. No, but it's yes, but
yes.
Excellent.
CNN, good radio.
Yes. Radio. Pat's on his game today.
We're gonna fix that in editing. I swear.
But that's the bar rescue guy.
Right.
And he says to me, and this kind of almost made me get a little chill. He goes, "Hey, I do bar rescue. You really rescue people." And they say, we should do something. And I was like, whoa, that was a pretty cool statement from him, because he's, whatever. He's just a bit of a star,
Yeah, definitely.
And what a nice guy.
You're
nice
not a
guy.
bit of a star.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Getting recognized now from where it came, and Donna Yaisley's in the building.
In the house.
She can.
Well, we cannot mess up the saves
So
today,
numbers
boy.
we can't mess up. In any judgment on historical perspective.
Yeah, we're gonna get
She can
creamed.
straighten out, because the recognition that you get now versus 2012,
Forget it.
14, 16,
Well, those
even
are those are the godsend
2020,
moments he
right?
talks about. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It is.
Yeah.
But what was cool was that, him it always is this. He recognized me. That means he knows about LifeVac. And then him making the connection, the rescue, right? A bar rescue. So he knows, like, it's getting there in the sense of visibility, And when someone who has visibility could help us and says, we should do something, I'm like, that's amazing. But it was a
Yeah.
really cool day, because spending time with CJ is amazing.
Incredible
But
couple of days.
I would definitely say he'd be into the what the F.
There's different aspects of it. The ones that you lay out in the book, which we'll talk about, the Little Rascals, and of course Risky Business, and one that I'm going to bring to your attention. I'm not sure if you knew
Oh boy.
what movie it got attributed to. It just doesn't matter.
Oh, it's
But
Meatballs.
all that and more. But I do. It is Meatballs.
We'll have to edit that
So you
too.
did
Oh,
know.
sorry. Did I ruin the
No,
cliffhanger for the
no,
audience?
not at all. You never ruin anything.
Yeah, Pat's ripping up the script.
Next. Yeah. No, but one other thing that Mr. Tapper said, and we hear this a lot from people that have this moment where they think about the application and the gift of LifeVac. And he said, I want to get this in all the restaurants that I rehab, because when they upgrade the food and they get more public, and he cares about the bar owner, the family, the story.
Yeah.
But he also, in turn, they have to care about the patrons.
And you
when
can
he
tell
said
because
that,
he was a sincere, good guy. Like, his enthusiasm for what we do, right? He wasn't stuck on himself. He was grateful and said, yeah, it has to be in a restaurant right off the bat. And that, to me, is always a good sign when someone's got humility and understands our cause and our mission, and comes at us and says, that's a good thing. We got to do something. That's important.
Absolutely.
And, it's interesting because we were at the dinner once at a steakhouse, and we were all talking. It was early on, and in like high-end steakhouse, the waiters tend to be there a long time, right? It's a good job. They are professional and they're awesome. And we said, yeah, we do this thing. He says, do you ever have choking? He says, oh yeah. He said, 2 bad ones, 1 died, right? And that was a random man in the street survey, and it was another moment of it happens a lot. So,
and it fits in with standard protocols failure rate among civilians. And I would consider a waiter or restaurant staff to be not trained. So you get into that 50% failure rate of what you'd think. Back
but it
blows
just shows
and
you
abdominal.
the
Have a LifeVac.
commonality, and in every instance they keep nudging you along. Keep going, right? And you get an enthusiasm from the par rescue guy. He picks you up.
Yes.
And also obviously listen to the CJ serve our country. And when you have that time and you put that button on and he talks, and I was just sitting there like it was a movie, and it's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, just having the time to really listen, the honor, the code, communication, the dedication. He gets a message, you got to come. He just landed. He drove all night. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. You got to be here. Okie dokie. Gets in the car and drives. No questions.
Right. The love of his friends and the people he served with.
And they're all like that.
It's inspirational. Yeah.
And the support. I talked to him on the way, and you were with
Irene. He says Irene. They go
right.
Doesn't matter.
And the question I asked him on the way back is, do you think great difficult situations for probably 20 years in battle? In this country and overseas, I asked him how important that support was, because we just knew through stories about his wife Susan and his son Britt how much he values that relationship and how important it is to him. And I asked him how easy, if anything could make that those situations more bearable or give you more of a foundation to rely on. And he said, no question, without the strength of his family support system. And when he talks about family, it means something.
Protege American hero. But I tell you, getting that amount of time, if you ever drove to Manhattan and New York from Long Island, you have a lot of time to talk. Really gave me a deeper appreciation for our military and the guys that did this stuff. And it also gave me more of a continued passion to make sure particularly since the Red Cross said when it can't be done, you should use a LifeVac or clearance device to keep pushing for our veterans. But
Yeah. And I
but
was
it
thinking,
does tie into what that.
absolutely. And you know, the other aspect of talking to CJ, and I say, listen, I've never been in the military. Arthur, we have an appreciation. Pat, no
Yes,
military
definitely.
background. But what's interesting is movie lines, which are instrumental in Sorry, Can't Is a Lie,
Yeah.
your book. When CJ would tell a story, I would throw out a movie. Sorry, this is like,
Yeah.
you know,
We were
A Few Good
educated
Men.
through the movies.
this is like Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan. This-
Stripes.
Right? Stripes.
Oh, that
Stripes
came up. That
Yeah,
came up.
the celebration day when they're going to graduate, and he
Yeah.
said, "That's the fact, Jack." So it does, and he appreciated that
Well,
because we don't
that's
have
a cool story, man. Right. So when they were through their training at the 5-week mark, right, is kind of where you're over the hump to some extent. You either go home or you continue. And his unit started at 40. It was down to 29. That's who made it to graduation. They caught a guy and he said, "Do you have skull dip?" And he's like, no. Pulls his lip. He has it. He said, "All right, go back to." They cut him the last day.
So they let him go through 2 more weeks, roughly 2
Yeah.
more weeks of
Busting his
absolute
butt.
hell.
Yeah, right.
And the night before graduation, families there,
Whack.
ceremonies, boom, gone.
And it was because he
And
lied.
because he lied. If he would just would have, he showed his lower lip, and he said, "No, that's not dip, that's remnants."
But
it
it
was a full
shows that
That's PTSD right there.
yeah, no
Someone-
kidding, right?
Yeah,
He's got to see someone just, and he never got it.
Yeah.
yeah,
But it showed to me that there is the seriousness of the commitment to the cause, to
Mhm.
each other, to management. It was a good day. It was a great day.
yeah. Really,
And we saved
fascinating
how many
individual,
lives
yeah.
we saved today, Donna? We saved 2. Those 3.
And
Still
I say,
early.
And I say that's a
It's
slow
not dinner
day.
time yet. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
any day is a saved
So-
life day.
We get back to the book, which we're going to talk about a lot, and it's again, Sorry, Can't Is a Lie. Please, if you don't have it, go to lifevac.net and order a copy of this book by Arthur Lee. Sorry, Can't Is a Lie, and chapter 6, I believe it's 6. Well, in any event, it
Yep.
says sometimes you have to just say
What the heck?
WTF.
Yeah.
So we're a family-oriented show, so we're going to go with the acronym W2F. We all know what it stands for. The first example you bring up, which is something we can most of us can relate to, it's The Little Rascals. And I knew the scene immediately. And I've quoted that a lot of times. Where are we going, Stymie?
I don't know where we're going, but we're on our way.
Right.
But in the book, in my brain, and I was thinking more of this, particularly after spending time with the Colonel today, it has a huge amount of applications. But that was my first kind of look into it. And when you analyze that moment, right, where they're cruising down the hill,
Yes.
and you're a little kid, I was spanking. I thinking that was fun. I'm too dumb
He's
to
just
realize
giggling.
that could kill us.
Yeah.
You know,
Young Spank is just laughing.
he's laughing. This is the greatest thing in the world. Diggy's focused on driving, and Stein's
tried
like
to-
freaking out.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he try to shake down the monkey? You got any money, monkey? He was swinging him by the tail before this ride, but he got on anyway. And then
Well, the
totally-
monkeys seem to be having
It's
fun.
called karma. It's coming again.
Yeah, they showed him. But as a kid, I thought, wow, yeah, it was funny, it was cool, and I thought it was fun, right?
Absolutely.
Then you have the years where you say that's so dangerous, my kid, I got to think. But life is all 3 of those, and everything we do of a significance is going to have some fear,
Right.
right? But sometimes you got to say, what the heck? And the analogy in that one is, Diggy's focused, so you got to focus. Time you're scared. Well, you should be going down the thing, but Spanky's having a blast.
Yeah.
So all
It's all
these have
about
to be regulated when you get involved in a decision, right? Yes, there's going to be fear, right? Whenever you do something.
Right.
But that was my first, kind of look at. I don't
Well,
know where
you
we're
said it.
going,
You-
but we're on our way.
Well, to bring it back to your invention, you had to say it
Oh,
because
a lot, yeah.
you had plenty of people, or not plenty of people, or just plenty of thought processes out there that would say, I'm
But-
going to say what the.
But maintaining that kind of moment, the words, I don't know where we're going, but we're on our way, is significant, and it's important, and it's good. It's cool. You don't always have to know where you're going, right? You just got to go on your way, right? With LifeVac, I didn't know how I was going to get there. it's called inventing something, I guess, but
Mm.
it's also called, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way. So I knew I wanted to go somewhere. I didn't know how to get there. I'll just start going, you know? And then you have the fear, right?
Mhm.
You got to focus, you diggy, you stymie going, oh my God, how am I going to get there? But Spanky's having a good time. So when I was experimenting and playing with things, you know, it was fun to some extent. I had a focus, had a study, had a watch of forces, but it was creative.
I think it's almost you're outside of your comfort zone a lot, but the fun part for you is you're doing it for a good cause.
Right.
You know the end goal is LifeVac. I mean, there's days or even weeks where you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And you just keep plunging ahead.
But plunging,
Plunging.
good word, Pat.
Wow.
Did you do that on purpose?
No.
Well, it's a plunger.
It is a plunger, so that sounded appropriate.
Place push pull, everybody.
Yeah. But the combination is not to scare us. That's what it is, right? There's going to be fear.
Yes.
And we can't let that one win. We go, oh, that's too scary. I'm not doing that. Or the improv, the famous, oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't know where I'm going. So go. You'll find out halfway down the hill if you're going to smash into the hay bale. Maybe that's the way to go.
You should have probably had CJ on tonight talking about being outside your comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and he actually
combat
offered
situations.
on the road.
Yeah. He's
That
actually been in
kicked in.
combat
Yeah.
situations where he's, I just got to invent something new. That's how we're going to live.
And I don't know where we're going, but we're going.
Yep.
Right? I mean, theirs is almost a little different. We don't know where, but we are going.
There's not a lot of fun parts in theirs.
No. Well, they
Until
do
they survive.
occasionally seem to have some fun too.
Oh,
with
they're
each
out of
other.
their minds.
Yeah. So you're listening to Arthur Lee, Patrick O'Rourke, and Rick Fatscher. This is The Man in the Arena, and we're going to be right back after this message.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I have 30 seconds to give you a very important message. My name is Arthur Lee. I'm the CEO inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that could save a life in a choking emergency. We've saved over 3,000 lives now, but we're not there. 5,000 people a year choke to death, one child every 5 days. Please consider protecting your family in a choking emergency with LifeVac. Go to lifevac.net today. Thank you for your time.
Okay, we're back on The Man in the Arena. I'm still Rick Fatscher, and I'm still with Arthur Lee, CEO, inventor of LifeVac, and Patrick O'Rourke. You can see him right to my left, or you can hear him to my left.
It's on the radio.
Right.
You can hear him
Right.
to my left.
We're back. We're talking about men and women in the arena, and we're also talking about Arthur's groundbreaking book. I'm going to call it groundbreaking, much like
Okay.
Baby Steps,
That's
Dr.
cool.
Leo Marvin.
Why not?
Groundbreaking book. Sorry, can't is a lie. And if you want to follow along at home, you can pick up this book, lifevac.net. Probably will be available in other arenas, probably on Amazon soon, but go to
It's on Amazon.
lifevac.net.
You can get on Amazon.
You can get it on Amazon, but you know what?
It's not knocked off.
Let's break people of that
Not
habit.
yet.
Start. Don't
Not
go
yet.
beyond that one.
Right, because when
I
we're
went
on
nuts on
Amazon,
Janice Dean today.
no
about
one
that.
needs Slightly Miffed Guy. It almost came out today at
It
Jazz
did.
Day.
It did.
Yeah.
It
And I
was
agree with
pretty
that.
funny.
You talked about, all right, so let me finish with where you get this book.
Okay.
Lifevac.net. Not only can you get the book there, but you can also get the authentic LifeVac. We have this problem, and we'll just touch on it briefly.
Oh, don't
Right?
get me started.
Okay.
Just having a good time.
Knockoffs and counterfeits, you got to watch out. Go to lifevac.net. Thank you.
That's out of your comfort
All right.
zone. Yes.
So
That
now
was brought to
getting
you
back,
by Rick Fatscher.
yeah. So
That's
we,
his
we
PSA for today.
I caught one this week, actually. I sent an email to Rick. Said,
Did you?
Yeah.
All right.
Some
cool.
senior citizen thing.
Oh, that's horrible.
I'm getting senior citizen emails now.
yeah.
Isn't that freaky,
You
man?
get the prepaid funeral ones. I've
Yeah,
been getting for
AARP,
years.
I forget what it
So,
was,
for God's sakes.
Can we be ARP yet?
I don't
60?
know. I think 59 and a half. I'm not sure.
Oh, no.
I started getting the emails.
All right, let's get back to something
Yeah.
good, man. Let's get
Back
real
to
stuff.
chapter 6, what we're talking about. We sometimes we just have to say
What the heck?
what the heck, but it's WTF. So you use your imaginations at home.
Flip. There used to be a center.
What the flip?
On our friend Gary Boulding's football team, Buffalo Bills.
What is that?
They had a long snapper center, and he would never curse. And
Really?
he said flip instead of the F word.
Oh,
Flip
good.
you.
And sugar.
Yeah.
So Gary said by the end of the season, we were all saying flip and sugar. instead of
Hey, that's
cursing.
cool. I can deal with that.
Flip off.
But here's the next
the flip?
part. The
Yes.
next one we're talking about was so much
Risky
fun.
business.
Well, and in the evolution, right? So my young brain is not putting these together yet. They're subconscious, right?
Right.
I was fairly a lunatic, jumping bikes and anything like
Yes,
that.
you were.
Playing soccer. But so we're all hanging out one day in my parents' house, and we're shooting pool. Having some beers, we're going to go out after. And something happens. And I think it was my friend Al said, it just doesn't matter, you know? And then one of the other guys, and before you knew it, we were marching around the pool table. Just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And it's funny how life instances stick with you, right? Because we were just cracking up and having a great time laughing and saying it. But when you retrospectively look back, what does matter, you know? And that ties into the fear part.
Is it really
right? What are we afraid of?
Right.
If family's good, what's the big deal? It just doesn't matter. But if you want to take on a huge challenge, you kind of need these in your pocket, right? You have to understand that there's going to be fear. You focus and concentrate, and don't be afraid and laugh part of the time, right? Because it's an adventure.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. Is your kid's okay? You're okay. Just doesn't matter. Oh my God, so and so is gonna come in, and the stupid protocol guy said something.
Camp North Star is going to come in and beat Camp Mohawk, and I think Bobby has this clip. Bobby,
it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I tell you, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
My man, Bill Murray.
It
worship the team. He's really good. Got his pool table. Even if we win.
Because all of the really good-looking girls will still go out with them because they have all the money. That was the clincher.
Right, and it's still true.
But
40 years later, it's still true.
Well, hence why you adapt. It just doesn't matter because you're gonna lose all the girls anyway.
Yeah, but you know what I loved about?
But that's what we did.
Yes, and I recognized it right away.
No, I knew you would.
Yes, but later I read books. Absolutely worship Bill Murray, all his work, all his movies, and his philosophy and the way he leads his life. And he attributes, or I think writers have attributed that, very early movie that he was in, Meatballs, and that scene as part of his.
Are you serious?
His Zen, like
Really?
that's how he lives his life.
Yeah.
Well, you ever see him on the
comes
golf
and goes.
course? Like he's the it doesn't matter golfer where
Yes.
everyone's freaking out. For it's a 6-foot putt, they look at it for 3
Right.
hours. You ever play with a guy like that? You want to smash him in the head?
Take it too serious. You're not playing for anything. No one's watching.
Well, I mean, obviously it's cool and all, but he has more of it. Just doesn't matter. Like he's having a good time. Relax. You know?
On his clothing line, William Murray clothing line, it says, "The more you relax, the better you are at life."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once again, all these little bits and pieces that kind of create the book and then come into adulthood, or now we're adulthood.
Third period.
Yeah.
Late in the game.
I think we're really
the
fourth
back
quarter,
nine.
brother.
Yes,
You know what I
yes.
say? I hope I'm middle age. I hope.
Yeah.
We're on the
You
back
would have
nine.
lived to 120. Good for you, man. I'm all for it. I think we're start of the fourth quarter, man. It's got to be. Yeah. So.
I might be in overtime.
But you make
But
it count.
anyway, so now you take these life lessons, and the book's about that, and then you reflect to understand what they really mean to you and what usefulness they are, right? And I think it's this chapter where I say, think about it, and it's so wild because today I was watching a clip, right, a video thing, and it was a little baby in a nursery, and she took her first step, right, and the aide is sitting there, and she sees her kind of break away, and she gives a big smile and says, come on. And she gives her a big hug, right? I remember Jackie's first step, right? She's cruising around the coffee table, using that. And then it was almost like she forgot she couldn't walk. She went and took off, and it hit me that
it steals your breath. Yeah.
And now, I know not a lot of people get to see their first step, and I'm not trying to say that you should cry, but you should think about it, how great our children moments are.
Oh yeah.
But she took off without fear. Now, I think it was because she kind of had momentum, like leaving orbit.
Yeah.
She was cruising around the table. But all the great things in life, right? Your first step, your first date, your first kiss, your first game, right? You're playing a game in front of people. I remember going on a basketball game, like freaking out because it was that little thing and you're 5'8", and I'm like 2'8",
Right.
and you're scared.
You
Right.
talk a lot about overcoming fear and getting out there.
Well, I think when you retrospectively look at it, we say I'm afraid, and my brain says you should be. That's part of it.
And that's
it's
okay.
something new. It's
right?
yep.
Don't worry about it. Everything great you ever did had fear. Remember asking a girl like to skate and roller skating?
Nope.
I still do.
You're making
That-
me.
that's
You're
not a good
making me.
thing.
You're making me very,
Stop
very
hanging around.
scary.
No, but do you remember that when
Yeah.
you'd have to ask a girl to skate?
Arthur, you say that, and my palms are starting to sweat.
Yeah.
No, we had to get rejected face to face. Nowadays, it's all
That's
online.
what I
We
mean.
had to actually ask the girl, and she would say no to you.
How
and you'd be
about
crushed.
you're walking around the mall and you're like,
Yeah.
and you pass them like 400 times.
Yes.
And you're
How
cool.
long can I hold my stomach in? That's why that was my problem. So, but we can talk about. I have a funny story. My son Connor, when he was 7 years old, he's just playing little league baseball.
Right.
And by the end of the season, he goes, "Dad, when the ball used to get hit to me, I'm not kidding. My knees would shake when they came to me. Now my knees aren't shaking anymore." I'm like,
That's cool.
You know, it's one
Progress.
of those, and so a new thing. You're terrified.
Yeah.
But I remember I said, you'll be fine. And thinking to myself, it happened to me too in sports. Like the first time you ever played anything, you're like, oh man, don't come near me. Don't come near me.
Yeah.
And then
Don't
they
hit
come
it
near
to
you and you're
me.
pretty good. And you're like, oh, I like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the end, hopefully you're saying, I hope he
Now I
hits
want
me.
the
I'm
ball.
going to
Yeah.
get that guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But what I guess for the listeners and for anyone who reads the book or anyone taking on a challenge, the fear is not to be unexpected, right? It's part of anything great you do. And, eventually you'll be the spanking the bank laughing, or you
Right.
crash. So what? That'll happen too,
Right.
Whatever came easily that ends up being great. Nothing.
No, but yeah, absolutely.
Nothing.
But when I retrospectively look back to say, getting hit the ball, well, that was because you're playing a game and you got great and you loved it. And the girl, when you asked her, and she said yes, it was fantastic, So fear is part of whatever we're going to take on, right? So don't expect that to say, oh, I'm afraid, so I won't do it because I'm afraid. I shouldn't be afraid.
Right.
Of course you should be afraid. Everything great, you should be afraid. But
Right.
that's when you say what the F or it just doesn't matter.
Right.
And you get those two goofy things, using them for good, right?
And how many of those moments in your life do you look back and go, thank God I did that. I
Yes.
wasn't going to, my life would be different if I didn't do that.
My
Thank
first
God I did it.
business, the reason the bottom line was I didn't want to, I said, I want to take my shot because if I can make this work, I can retire early and I've done it. And if I don't do it, I'm going to look back and say I should have done it.
Yep.
And yeah, I was scared and people around me really scared, but it was too bad.
We still are.
So
Trust
bring
me.
you back to
Even on a
2012.
motorcycle.
You have a rough version of the LifeVac, and you're out at the beach for your camping trip with your daughter, and you're contemplating, do I keep this to myself or do I, undertake this monumental task to change the world, eliminate choking? Was there an WT? I know there was a prayer moment, but was there a WTF moment?
Well, I think it was probably more of it just doesn't matter, honestly, in that sense, because when the devil and the angel were fighting and the devil saying, man, you made it, retire, your daughter's safe, what are you jerks? You're going to get clobbered. They're going to tell you, you're a shimpan, you got to get a medical product, blah, blah, blah. And the angels
And
like,
these people actually spoke exactly like that.
well, they're the two from Animal House.
They're both drunk.
Yeah.
No, but you're what the F moment was, I could be comfortable the rest of my life and
Right.
I'm going to put it out there and risk it and, let's see what happens.
Yeah. But it was more of a had to do it. And
You felt
it
the
just
calling.
doesn't matter if I fail, right? I have to go do this, right? So it doesn't matter. And the real it doesn't matter was, so when I put her in the tent, she was sleeping, and I said, I looked at the sky. This is a true story. Beautiful night, great South Bay, man. And I looked up and I said, God, give me a strength. And as I said, strength, a shooting star went across the sky, right? So in essence, he said, it doesn't matter. Go do it. You got it. I got your back. And from then on, no matter what happened, I said, it doesn't matter. I have to do it. The big guy told me, I'm good. So it doesn't matter what happens.
Right.
And trust me, we got clobbered. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
We still get clobbered.
Yeah.
But
Well, you handle it. and you
But
handle
it's
it
a
well.
way to take some of the things we all know from popular culture and analyze them to take some of our anxiety out. I hope,
Right. One of the
Thank you. He's
greatest.
having a blast.
Yep. One of the greatest fears is well known to be speaking. So people say, I'm afraid to give this speech or afraid. And I just heard advice recently of saying what that, WTF, but also, of course, accept it. And of course, you feel nervous. This is crazy what you're about to do.
First time I had to do was social studies. I think Miss Davis. Do you guys remember Miss
I
Davis?
remember.
She was like
Yeah.
hammered the whole time.
Yeah,
Oh,
big
yeah.
red lipstick.
Yeah.
I got a 99
Yes.
in my Regents final. I loved her.
She was really hammered that day. But
She looked good to me.
you had to do a speak in front of class. I was
Yeah.
terrified, man.
It's only one of the public speaking never really bothered me. My friends were all terrified by it.
Well, you done
You were
comedy,
natural.
Like,
Not even comedy. I was just the youngest of 6 kids. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like if you want to
you're
yell.
already.
Hey, I'm over here.
In an earlier show.
Were you scared like the first time you went on stage?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, 'cause I bartended for 20 years and everyone's like, you should be a comic. And yeah, right. Dude. It's a big leap
Hell yeah.
from sitting behind a bar and then getting on stage, So
What was the first time you went on?
like 2001 in 82nd and 1st, the comic strip.
Really?
And Brian signed me up for it.
Hell
And
yeah.
He's like, I did it, so you do it. And I was
How'd
like,
you do?
I killed.
Did you?
Yeah, I did really well. But I already had a bunch of jokes from bartending for years.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm like, I just basically did all of them, and I told all my friends, I'm going to do this this open mic.
Was the Olympic sports, the Winter Olympics, part of that original
Not
set?
the original, but
Could you still do your original set?
I have to go look at it. I had it taped. But
Some of it dated now.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
And
I
you thought
would
you were so
think.
good, you're like, I'm going to be the next Richard Pryor.
Well,
now you
it's
watch
more
it
the
just blush, you're
material
like, I
than
was
you.
so bad.
Yeah, but you want to know tie this in, right?
Right.
So we were talking. I was with Joe Piscopo. We were hanging out, and we just getting like him, like CJ. It was cool. We were just talking to Joe Piscopo, like my head was going to explode. And he said, I was talking. How'd you get into comedy? And he says, well, I had a knack. So I went down to the comedy store, and the line was out the door. Caroline's, I guess, was the big one.
was a
Back
big
No,
in the
but
day.
back then it was on 44th at the Improv.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So what he
44th
said,
Improv.
by the time he got there, the line was out the door. Said, okay, I got it. Next time I'm going to go back like 2 a.m. for the next day. He said he got there. He said the guys online, Jerry Steinfeld and Larry David.
Wow.
But to me, that meant that's what it takes.
Yep.
The reason they're online at 2 a.m. and you were the third guy, because you're the guys that succeeded and you're willing to put it out there and get there.
Mhm.
When the first time I went on Shark Tank to go on Shark Tank, I was second in line because I slept there.
Of course you did.
Yeah, that was a fun trip. Well, that could be a show.
Yes.
Just talking about all the crazy people online with their great ideas.
Yeah. This is what's called a reset in the radio business. You're listening to Arthur Lee, Patrick
fun.
O'Rourke, and I'm
I want
Rick
to hear more
Fatscher.
about Shark Tank. You were on
Well,
Shark Tank.
yeah, we're
No,
going to get
no.
to Shark Tank, but I want to get back in the remaining for this segment to this risky business quote because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the title.
Yeah,
So I want to read you what Miles actually said.
Aren't we supposed to do the reset?
I just did it.
Oh, that's
I
it.
did it so flawlessly and
Really?
seamlessly. Now we're going to go back and do it again. Watch. It says you're listening to Arthur Lee, Patrick O'Rourke,
bridges
and
are
Rick
getting
Fatscher,
better.
and this is the man in the arena.
He does it so good on
Yeah.
these, though they happen. All right.
So
what
listen
is
to
it?
Miles, who speaks to Tom Cruise, who's named very telling, Joel Goodson. It's like good son. But anyway, Miles says, what the F gives you freedom? Freedom gives you opportunity. Opportunity makes your future. So your folks are going out of town.
Really? See, I didn't even know.
Place all to yourself.
and
That's all-
he's
what
setting
the-
the stage.
And that's it from Risky Business.
That's
When
actually
Tom Cruise was
No way.
just a
Oh,
good young actor
please.
and funny. But that's the actual title of this chapter, the full sentence.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to say it.
Well, because at the end, and the administrator that he's terrified of says, you got to say it, and he retrospectively at the time the movie was cool. He got to drive the Porsche and he had
Yes.
a big party and they stole the egg.
They did
It
get
was just
chased.
cool.
They did get chased by Guido the Killer Pimp.
Right. It's
That's
fantastic.
okay
It's
though.
all
It all everything
exciting.
works out.
It's
He got that
spanky.
dance out of it. Come on, guys.
Yes. Oh my God.
We've all embarrassingly done that at
Yes,
one time or another by
yeah.
ourselves.
Yep.
And broken,
Yes.
snapped the
Hit
knee.
my-
Yes.
But here's the thing.
Right.
So at looking back, was he said, "What the heck?" And it all worked out, right? And he had this adventure of a lifetime. And I think if we combine that fear with the what the heck with taking a shot, you have the adventure of a lifetime.
Yep.
Now, fear is built in us not to do anything too bad, right?
Right.
But we can't be afraid of everything. We can't let it rule us.
Right.
You know, there's a bear. Yeah, be afraid and climb a tree or something because you should be scared. But when we tackle things or we're faced with things, we can't let the fact that we're afraid intimidate the decision too much.
Keep
right?
us from
It's
doing
going to be part
epic.
of it.
Keep us from doing epic doo-doo.
Yes.
Right?
I'm afraid of heights. Brooklyn Heights, Washington Heights.
those are healthy
See,
fears.
but those are healthy
Yes,
fears.
those are healthy
yes.
fears.
Good
So
point. Stay afraid.
you're listening to The Man in the Arena with Arthur Lee and Patrick O'Rourke, and we'll be right back after these messages.
I was in the living room when I heard my son Carter, who was 2 at the time. I looked over and I saw him grabbing for his face and his throat. I grabbed the LifeVac. I put the mask on his face and placed push-pull. The LifeVac dislodged the ice cube from his airway and he started crying. The most amazing sound I've ever heard in my entire life. Please protect your family. Get a LifeVac.
Hey, we're back on The Man in the Arena. I'm Rick Fatscher, along with Pat O'Rourke and Arthur Lee, CEO and inventor of LifeVac, for those of you at home. Yes, I'm going to start the timer. So we've been talking about chapter 6 of the book. Sometimes you just have to say,
What the flip?
what the flip?
Hey, Buffalo Bills.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary Bolding.
Yeah. So we were,
It wasn't Gary, it was the long snapper.
We should have Gary on one time.
Yeah, definitely.
He'd be a
love to
cool
do it.
guest.
yeah, absolutely.
He's choked a lot of people.
There's so much
He
Massapequa
might have some fear involved. That
and
regard,
Seaford that runs through the fabric of this show. Man in
Seaford
the
is Ray
Arena.
Romano.
So we connect. What's that?
Ray
Seaford?
Romano was supposed to be based out of Seaford, that show.
Oh, really?
Everyone Loves Raymond. Yeah.
Oh, didn't know that. So Larry Romano, who I don't know if I mentioned him, he's supposed to be joining us, but he's not, is from
the show King of Queens.
King of Queens, which
I love
is
his
supposed to be in Massapequa.
He was a really nice guy.
Absolutely.
We met him
No.
at the cancer thing, and what was it? What were we there for?
You met him at the breast cancer
Awareness.
awareness.
Yes.
And so I met him at, on your introduction, I met him at the Guide Dog Vet Dogs
Yeah, he's trying to do good
event
stuff.
at Mulcahy. He wanted to look for a venue for this thin red line
But do you?
memorabilia. And he was looking not to just donate it or to raise money for himself. He wanted to partner up with someone that had the media
Yeah.
platform. And he's mistakenly thought, I mean, I tried to do anything I could to help him with it, but we don't run, we don't have
Oh, we are.
our foot in that
big.
arena.
Pat has his patch sewed on now, so we're
Yeah.
big.
And also got to correct you. You also said King of Queens was about, no, Kevin Can Wait was about Massapequa.
That's the one I'm
King
talking
of Queens was about Queens. That's why it was
Wait
called
a
King of
second.
Queens.
So it wasn't, wait a minute, it wasn't King of
King of
Pequa?
Queens was not about Massapequa.
Are you sure?
No,
Kevin-
it was Kevin can wait.
I know.
And then he lived in Massapequa, and he had All American on his
Yes.
shirt and stuff.
All right, Kevin James, any Kevin James fans that I've
We
I've
apologize.
just please send all your complaint letters to rfatcher@lifevac.net.
You know, but the King of
Fatcher,
Queens show
LifeVac
was,
.net.
because I was a trucking guy, right? So, and he's kind of a regular dumb guy like us, and that show to me was great.
I
and,
thought that-
and when I met him, because his character was really funny.
Yeah,
you
and he
know.
outkicked his coverage. Let's be honest with the cast. He probably was involved with casting, as is Adam Sandler. All his movies always gets
Yeah, but they made bits
Jennifer
about that too.
Aniston.
They were always pointing out he got her,
right.
and that was one of the few series, maybe Seinfeld too, where it never jumped the shark. The last 2 or 3 seasons were as good as the
Yeah.
first 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Yes,
You were crushed when it went off the air. You're like, keep going,
yes.
But it makes you realize that you need good writers and you
Yes.
need the right cast.
Yep.
And
build characters.
Yeah,
Yep.
and but he was perfect, and he was every guy I work with. He was me all the time with just the goofy stuff he did and forgetting.
You
and
could
being a
totally
guy.
relate. Like,
Yes, exactly. Particularly because he was the truck driver. Like, so even at work,
Not even like the stuff at home. One time he was piling the garbage up, and he should have taken it out, but he left it for the next person. He just piled the cup on it and walked away.
Exactly. All those things. Those
We've all done that.
simple little
Yes.
things.
Yep.
He was every man.
Yes.
Yeah. But not wrong with that. I mean, that's humor, and that's good. And part of what
Was Frank
WTF is
Costanza
humor.
Was
Yeah.
Frank Costanza in a different role?
He was his
Then still-
father-in-law.
Father, yeah, he's Carrie's father in
King
Queens.
Queens.
And he was
He's hysterical. Arthur. His name's Arthur.
Arthur,
Mhm.
having not that's Godwink,
Yeah.
having not really delved into that show, was Arthur as good as Frank Costanza?
Yes.
Yeah.
Arthur was
Really?
a huge part
Absolutely.
of King of
He
Queens.
was great.
Huge part of it. Yes.
He was
Really?
great. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he was great.
I may have to go back and
Rest in
revisit this
peace.
show.
Oh, you
always
got
have
it.
to go binge watch it when the next snowstorm. Just watch King of Queens for a couple hours.
Really?
It's fantastic.
And he's
Yeah,
not
but
in
you know
Pickwick.
what? If you look back at all these people, even what was that? Ben Stiller? Was he was Stiller in Mirror?
Yeah, yeah.
And
In real
he
life,
started
yes.
Vaudeville.
And
All of them had WTF, right? Anyone who's great had WTF.
Yep.
If you look at you go back to Elon, or you go back to Jeff Bezos, you go back to Brian, right? Brian, and one of the great things about his show is when he showed the letters that go from here to all America.
yeah, rejection
You know?
letters.
And
From TGIFs. He's like, I wasn't good enough for TGIFs. They rejected me.
Yeah, but but then you start going, holy cow, it's all part of it.
Persistence. Yep. just
And if
keep
we
going.
can do anything as we're in the fourth quarter, is to kind of share these backward stories, right? To say, look, man, don't worry about being afraid.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah,
Take
Throw
a
some-
shot.
throw some
Especially
gas on
now.
someone's fire. Yep.
for those that like yourself who did it early on, and Brian who did it early on, and we all have had those moments where I'm going to go away to school for the first time,
Yeah.
or I'm going to I always remember when Brian was doing, we were all kind of involved with this cable show, and for all of us, it was, a lifetime, and he enjoyed the heck out of it. But at a certain point, he was built for bigger things,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, he's going to California. The rest of us have to get jobs.
Right. And he had to, and he had
Like
to
any rock
do
band
it.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah,
He couldn't
exactly.
stay and stay with all these great friends and fun stuff, and then become where he is today without that leap of faith
Yeah, you
to go
gotta
out to
take it.
California.
Well, when I first started my air freight company with my partner Bob, who's amazing dude, I had a good job. You get the golden handcuffs,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it's
And
comfortable.
everyone told me, "Oh, you got a great job. You do good. You got a house. You do it great."
Mostly
what
the guys that were exploiting you, right? Mostly the people that were
Well, because comfort is a great spot.
Absolutely.
They were right. I was making good living. I was, working but hard.
It's the
And,
passion part of it too. That it didn't happen overnight for Brian. He, was 10, 12 years.
Oh.
He said he was like 32, 33, making like $36,000 a year.
Yeah.
He's like, I couldn't get married. I couldn't do, but it's the passion. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going.
well,
Just like
LifeVac's
with you.
13 years now.
Yeah.
And my first
I'm
company
going to keep
was-
going.
we-
Yep.
Someone said to me once, and I kind of was like, you're wrong. He said 10 years. He said, you will not, no matter what you tackle on the way to greatness, 10 years. And with life, my first time, he was absolutely right. We weren't really making much money or anything for 10 years. Made a living. Got successful after. LifeVac, same thing. Took really 10 years for it to make enough momentum and get enough out there. And so that's another thing, don't expect that to happen overnight.
How did I mean, that brings us right into the middle of COVID. How did the pandemic, which I think came from China, I don't want to get you miffed, but how did that
Wuhan lab.
did that play with the timeline?
Well,
it speed it up, slow it
No,
down?
Well, probably slowed it down a little bit, but we didn't have anything anyway. I was working in Lenny's ice cream closet. Singer
20
was in his
In
garage.
2020?
Yeah, so
Wow.
we didn't really have it.
And you weren't all over you're all over TV now because a lot of people watching TV during COVID.
Yeah,
Well, that would have been,
would have been nice. But we got actually Brian had us on when I was during COVID because I had COVID and Plunkett had to go.
I hadn't
Yeah.
seen you in like 25 years. And I remember watching that show and I go, oh my, I went to high school with that guy. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
I
what he's
get
doing
that.
now.
One of my favorite Massapequa,
Can't believe that guy's still alive.
what's already up to, one of my favorite reactions is, wow, good for him. But why didn't I think of that? Is Mike Ragusa, the plumber, family business,
yeah.
50
Yeah.
years, he's like smacking himself. I said that the difference is he was moved. Not that Mike isn't a great father, but I never forget
It's
the
connecting
motivation.
dots.
Like you connected on a personal level.
Yeah.
Not just the problem of the world. You started by thinking about your own.
Yeah.
Your family.
No doubt. And without the accident, I don't know if I would have been able to do it because I wouldn't have had the empathy. I wouldn't have understood what it's like to lose someone right in front of your eyes that you love.
Right.
And because of that, pretty powerful motivation. And it was powerful motivation for her. And then the whole, I knew their families, I knew how it affected them. What's gonna, your kid choked. I have this thing. I gotta live with that.
How many years between the accident and 2012?
20, 30?
20 years. And that I silly to even ask, the pain, the feeling's still
ridiculous.
there.
Well, I was driving, so it was really good.
Yeah. But I mean,
thanks for bringing that up.
Really, this would be great radio.
So much for today.
Well, I just wanted to.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
And I don't. I have to have the courage to share it because anyone in that situation needs to keep going.
Right.
So I've come out of I almost said the closet, Pat. Come on, you got.
Wow, that's a big show.
Yeah.
This is quite the radio show.
That's not what I meant to say.
What else can you do with the LifeVac?
So listen, I'm Rick Fatscher, and I've just put my foot in my mouth. I'm here with Arthur Lee, CEO and inventor of LifeVac, and Patrick O'Rourke, comedy legend, who's about to give me
my best friend died too.
a good
It's
talking
a happy
to.
show.
And we're going to take a brief break, and maybe I'll be back. We'll see if I get treated well.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I have 30 seconds to give you a very important message. My name is Arthur Lee. I'm the CEO and inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that could save a life in a choking emergency. We've saved over 3,000 lives now, but we're not there. 5,000 people a year choke to death, one child every 5 days. Please consider protecting your family in a choking emergency with LifeVac. Go to lifevac.net today. Thank you for your time. So
And look,
let's get him on.
Hey,
Don't touch the
yeah,
table.
welcome back to the Man in the Arena. And gosh,
Rick is still here.
Rick is still here.
That was fun though. I mean, it went pretty quick.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Just sitting there.
When we're not thinking about these segments, and we're
That'd be
just
most of the
Let's
time.
do it on a Friday night and have drinks.
Yeah,
No, that's
That
our-
would fly.
that's our
Bob
listeners.
Buckman, we could have him on.
But you know who we have always as a cleanup
Always.
hitter?
Mr.
3000 Ray Priebe.
Hey, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight?
We're doing
what's
great,
up,
Mr.
Ray?
Put a quarter in the jukebox. The floor is yours.
So what do we got, Ray? Oh no. Did we lose Ray?
So
Even his
listen,
phone?
we are watching live for those of you listening. Mr. Ray Priebe, Mr. 3000, and we battle with this connection sometimes. But let me just tell you a little bit
Put
about
the
it.
effort in.
Absolutely.
It happens.
Yes,
so let's stay
absolutely.
calm.
So now, why do we call him Mr. 3000? Because he saved his 2-year-old daughter, and it happened to be when we were counting down. We had all kinds of contests, and we celebrate each and every save. But as we neared 3,000, and Donna Yeisley is right here to back this fact up. Ray Priebe saved his daughter.
Guess who's back?
He's back.
And he is back. What's
I'm
going
back.
on? 3K?
So, yes, like you were saying, why am I number 3,000? I was able to save my daughter using the LifeVac. She happened to be the 3,000th person saved by that device, which is just a godsend.
And now you're a legend.
Now I'm a spoke in the wheel. I'm here to help.
He's a passionate dad. Just
He's a
like
wingman.
I was,
He's a
man.
wingman.
He is a
Passionate
wingman.
dad, absolutely.
Yeah, a passionate dad like the inventor, right?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
so many others. But
Not me, really. I'm not that passionate about being a dad. You haven't met my
He's
kids.
only slightly up the schedule.
But on that note, Bobby, go ahead and run those numbers.
Here we go, baby.
we're running the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
3548. Is that
Wow.
3,548 saves to date. 2,222 of them being children.
2222.
In November was 3,000.
Yeah.
And we have 2 saves today.
Let's hear it.
We have, I'm going to throw this little piece in as I always do every week. So from October 20th, which is Maya's number 3,000 saved, 116 days, we have 548
Holy
saves
moly.
in 116 days.
Holy moly.
Nice.
Huge numbers right
Thank you,
there.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, the highlight of the week.
Yeah, baby.
Highlight of the week.
That's like
February
5.
25. This
I
is
hear
number
Maya.
2,206 child saved.
Oh my God.
This is a 6-month-old boy that was choking on a piece of celery. While trying to eat his food, he took a bite of celery while also laughing. When he took a breath in, it had sucked into his airway. He immediately turned red and was gagging. I tried back blows before my husband brought me the LifeVac. We laid him on the ground and used the LifeVac one time, and it had come out. We are very thankful we had it on hand and bought it for this reason, knowing we were having a baby who had to have eventually learn how to eat.
Wow.
They actually had one at my prior job in the break room. That's when I noticed it during my pregnancy, and I immediately knew I had to have it. I'm extremely glad that I had it on this day. There it is.
You know,
Wow.
Ray,
Moral of the story.
I love when he does that.
Celery's good for nothing.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah,
Just
for
double
nothing.
down on, I'm not hitting
Cheese
vegetables.
doodles.
What anything but celery.
But Ray, you know, I love when you do your highlight, and I love that you're with us. I love that your enthusiasm, and you know, we got to hang out a little, so I love you. And it's
And
great.
we'll be hanging out again this
baby.
weekend.
You want to
Yes.
plug Brian?
We should pause for the advertisement for the Jacksonville trip.
Yeah, there's Austin.
But
Yep.
also, I always like to mention too, 3,548. Those are the ones reported.
Absolutely.
It's a much higher number than that.
And we know from our small sample size study and Costco road shows that we're doing, I mean, just an average day, 2 or 3 per day, will walk up to the LifeVac display and say to Roadshow Ryan, "Hey, Roadshow Ryan, I just used my neighbor used
Yeah,
LifeVac
they all have a story. Yep.
2 months ago. Did you report it?
No.
Heck no." And then we put these people in touch with the website, because you should go to lifevac.net,
Yeah.
and there's a nice little way to click on a button and report the save. But we always reach out to Donna for guidance, and she's always quick to point us in the right direction.
So Easter is late
Yes.
this year. Easter is April 21st. Do you think we'll have 4,000 by then?
Oh boy, we
Uh-oh.
can actually start doing that.
A new
We can
pool?
start- we're going so
I'll
fast.
bet on
We
it.
got to count down. Let's do that. Let's have a bet. Us three.
So
Next
how
show,
far is-
we all pick our date.
Yeah.
Yes, April, okay, yeah. Easter is April 12th.
Should we bet
We'll pick a
stupid
date.
stuff like have
Wear
to
4,000.
wear a bunny
Under over
outfit or
4,000.
something?
And of course, us three, and of course, Mr. 3000 are going to have
Yes.
and Donna will be able to throw,
No,
her-
if Rick doesn't
throw
get the number
in
right,
the
he
ring.
loses his job.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't wait.
I've got 2 strikes against me tonight. And
Well, gentlemen, before I log off, my final statement before I go. LifeVac. Have it and don't need it. Don't need it and not have it. A life could
Yeah.
depend on it.
bam.
buddy. You
Bam.
got it. You're right.
Love you guys. God bless. We'll see you in a couple of days.
I get to meet you in person. The
Yeah.
legend.
Get to
Can't
see
wait.
you. See you
All right.
tomorrow.
Nice. Mr. 3K, always great to see him. Now we can promote the upcoming, but I'm not sure if people are going to be listening to this past February 15th, but that's okay.
Then we could pretend to make them mad that they missed it.
Yeah, you should be. You
Let's
should
promote stuff
Feb-
that already happened.
And also put
February
a bet on it.
15th was an amazing story. There it is. History, Liberty, and Laugh store.
You know,
We're
go
gonna
out
be
and
with
vote,
Brian
folks.
Kilmeade.
Big election's coming up.
Yeah.
We got to get Biden out
Every
of there.
vote counts.
Yeah. Make sure you vote. February 15th, and then we're going to be in Jacksonville, Florida.
Well, we
we're all
got to
going to
put
be
St.
together.
Louis up.
Absolutely. St. Louis, Missouri.
March 22nd.
If you're
All right.
listening,
So
go
look
to
at that.
Kilmeade.
Look at that graphic. March 22nd.
Kilmeade at foxnews.com or briankilmeade.com and look for the upcoming tour. It's coming to Missouri. And where else are we going? Dayton, Ohio.
Really?
So look
In
for
June.
in June. Look for those dates on his website. We're all
I'm going to start selling
we're all
these.
involved. We're all connected. It's all
We
one,
should.
and it's a great time. So our show tonight, we've been talking about the chapter from the book "Sorry Can't Is a Lie" by Arthur Lee, who we've been speaking with. Of course, he's the host. I'm Rick Fatscher, Patrick O'Rourke, but we've been talking about sometimes you just have to say WTF. And each show don't necessarily drives the show, but we talk about each
There's a
chapter.
point to talk
What do you
about.
think? I mean, and we just taped 2 shows the last 2 days with Jim Kerr, radio legend, and of course, go ahead.
We're all going to be in Jacksonville. Let's let the next show come from us. We'll pick a chapter while we're there.
Well,
Because something's going to happen, make us want to talk about something.
what? All right. In that case, we won't pick a
I'll
show.
probably choke.
We'll have a real life save, and we'll have
That's
video
very
and audio.
conducive for the LifeVac save.
He takes one for the team.
Yes.
He is quite the trooper.
But we'll talk about that. We taped shows yesterday because we have a couple minutes. Jim Kerr, radio
Oh
legend.
my God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Radio guy, man, and when he just started speaking, it's like this wave. It just goes, and you're like, whoa, that's cool.
And it's
Yeah.
surreal that you're in the room with him. You're like, I've only heard that voice through a speaker my whole life,
Yeah.
in my car, in my shower,
Well,
and
remember,
now I'm actually talking to him.
that's a little weird, but
No one, you don't listen to music in the shower.
More about that
just,
later.
hey, you want to listen to Jim Kerr in the shower? I'm not judging, but
You don't have a radio in your bathroom?
no.
Catch up.
I know.
What the
I
F?
want to get the one that
There's
hangs.
a
It's
different-
waterproof.
I used to have that.
Did you?
But now it's on the. I have a, and it was to find a clock radio is impossible.
Yeah, that's what
I had to go to like 6 different stores, and it was going to like
The Sharper Image
Dollar
catalog
Club.
always had the
What's a Dollar
waterproof.
Club? And it was $9. I'm like, what's this Dollar Club? What? But anyway,
So you're bringing in a new WTF.
odd.
The question: What the F? What the F?
Yeah,
Pat?
yeah.
no, was that Frank? WTF.
But it was great meeting Jim, radio legend, and he I mean he
Yeah,
told
just
the
a
story. He
different
mostly spent time with us
Well,
telling a story
the
about
other thing that we're
the
not
tragedy.
good at in his imagery.
yes.
Like when he was he had a choking incident where he was at a bar and the guy died, and he came on and talked about it in the sense of, this is real. I was there. But when he was talking about where he was and the way he described it, me and him were like, can we go there? He's like, it's warm and it's cozy, and I know the guy. And that was like,
Was it a bar in the city?
It was
Yes.
Cheers, but no.
Oh, Pesci and pasta.
but
In
right,
Manhattan?
Pesci and pasta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
the way he painted that picture,
Yes.
and that's radio. Like
Yeah, those- yeah.
he had this way of
Much better than us.
And I
visualizing.
have
it.
none of that.
We're the opposite. We're
Yeah.
like, I can't see you guys.
Well, he's been in
Just
broadcasting
imagine.
50 years. 50 years in broadcasting. I said, yeah, we've been like 5 months. So
Yeah, we're
we
good.
got- We got some time. to go.
Bravo.
But his voice is young. Like he's still.
Yeah.
A lot of guys when they get older, they get the old man voice. He
But
still
the
sounds
other
great.
thing is, and this is something, man, for everyone as we leave, he loves what he does.
Yeah.
He is he says, he never worked, he loves it. And you
Yeah.
could see it in his youth, in his joy, in the way he moves.
Spring in his
He's
step.
a happy dude.
And he shocked
50 years working,
Yeah,
and he's happy.
He confused and shocked Howard Stern, who's a self-identified grumpy man. Like he could not believe that someone could get that much joy out of
Yeah.
being on the radio for
He
50
just
years.
Loved it. He was so
Optimistic.
gleeful.
So on that note, I want to thank everyone for tuning into The Man in the Arena. I want to thank Arthur Lee and Pat O'Rourke. I'm Rick Fatscher, and we'll see you next week in the arena.
And sing along if you know the words. Ba-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. LifeVac and live.